Chapter 5. I Want to Be a Knight. Halt. State your business. Cargo delivery from Merchant Ventures. I half expected some questioning, but the name carried enough weight that the guard simply nodded and ordered the gate to be raised. While that had happened, I approached the client, who gave me a small pouch of coins. As per our agreement, I grinned and accepted the payment, resisting the urge to check. Was it rude if you counted the money in front of your client? Yes, if you want to know. Yes. Just turn down the volume a little bit. Okay. The heaviness seemed appropriate as my fingers gripped the bag.
Thanks.
Thank you. I'm glad you arrived safely. Take care.
Wow.
As the carriage rolled away, I noticed Kerr and Amari standing around gawking at the thick city walls. Shall we get going? They broke up their trance. Amari's eyes shone radiantly, while Kerr tried to hide his stupefaction. Stupefaction? Please try to stay with me. No wandering off. I tucked the pouch into my belt, and they quietly followed, soaking in the sights as we entered the city. We strolled easily through the wide streets, which bustled with many carts and carriages passing by. Eventually the crowds thickened, forcing us to slow down. I saw the two dragons getting a few curious stares, but everyone seemed to be too busy with their own schedules to pay real attention. No, those were no more than passing glances. If it was more usual, I'm sure people would have stopped and commented. It was then I spotted one person with ears similar to Kerr's, so it was true that there were more dragonkind here. At the plaza, there was a large platform with carnival feats on display. A fire eater launched a flame, and the crowd awed and applauded accordingly.
The hell?
Wait, I didn't know heavenkind could breathe fire. What is this trickery? How does this work? Can anyone learn it? It's an illusion? If it only appears like that because he extinguishes it at the right time. Come on, this way. As we zigzagged, Amari abruptly stopped. I nearly bumped into him. Amari?
Wow.
He had found a glass-blowing shop with an open front, and one of the artists was molding a transparent blue bubble through a blow tube. Suspended all around the store were glass-blown ornaments. Below, rainbow vases sparkled in the sunlight.
That is so amazing.
That's phenomenal! How are they able to create something so beautiful? There's so many colors! He took a step forward, but I quickly pulled on his braid, and then on Kerr's hair, because he was dawdling toward a pastry shop.
Stay focused.
We'll never get to the Argent Vari Guild at this rate. Come on. But I want to see. Aw. They have apple tarts. We can check the glass shop later, and Kerr, I'll get you you'll get cavities if you keep eating those. Enough dilly-dallying. We have somewhere to go, and I want to get there now. I released them both after they promised they wouldn't run off, and I made sure they stayed close. Fortunately, the guild was located in a quieter part of town, between the church and the public gardens. Kerr looked quizzically up at the headquarters, which proudly displayed an embossed sign.
The hell?
This doesn't look like an altar.
Whoops, sorry about that.
Sorry, this is just a small side trip. Promise. I clapped my hands together and gave a little bow, closing one eye. Something I really need to do first. I'd love to have you come with me, but they probably don't allow just anyone. So can you two please not wander off? I'll treat you all to all the glass shop and apple tarts you want after.
I promise.
Promise. Fine. I sighed, but was relieved that at least one of them seemed obedient. Besides, even if there was dragonkind here, you might attract too much attention. And I won't be there to protect you if something bad happens. Don't worry about us. We'll be over there. He pointed to the garden, which consisted of shady trees and benches scattered around the pretty flower beds.
Thanks.
Thank you. I fished out the letter and entered the building. Inside, everything seemed more normal than I anticipated. It reminded me of a lobby of an inn or shop. There was a large board with various scribbled reports pinned to the cork. A few knights with authentic-looking badges walked by, giving me only a passing glance. I approached who I assumed was the receptionist. Is this the Argent Valerie headquarters, right? Right. I have a letter advocating me for the title of knight. Do you simply join if you fulfill some requirements, or how does this work? First, what academy did you graduate from? I was homeschooled? She shook her head, and I started to get anxious. I pushed the letter onto the counter. At least read this, Lady Bayard. Lady Bayard? Yes, I'm her daughter. She personally trained me so I could officially join the Knights and serve under the Sun and Moon Council. She ripped open the letter and read it eagerly, like it was addressed to a fan from an admired celebrity. Her eyes darted down and she looked up in peculiar expression. Her credentials and titles are longer than... I know. You must have lots of potential if you're Bayard's daughter. Sadly, we no longer accept people who solely trained under one person.
What? No.
What? She flashed an apologetic smile. I'm sorry, so sorry, but rules are rules, and as much as I admire your mother, new protocols have been recently implemented and they are to be followed. If you want, I could look for openings in the Oliver Knight Academy. Her voice droned on, but I could no longer register anything. I could only stand there numbly and nod. All my training? For nothing? This couldn't be. Aw.
Are you okay?
Auralee, are you okay? I was not sure what happened, but I had somehow managed to make my way to one of the benches outside. Oh, I was curled up with my head nestled in my knees, not responding to any of Amari's concerns. So, did it work out? Kerr. What? I'm just asking if it worked out. Obviously not. Embarrassed and teary-eyed, I glanced up to see what the other two were doing. Amari hovered around me fretfully like he was trying to figure out how to shoo a spider out of the kitchen. Kerr, on the other hand, gave me a stern look like that said he regalated me to the status of dirt under his shoes. And I didn't care.
This can't be happening.
It's over. All over. What does one do to reassure a heavenkind? They usually take him or her out to a pub so they can drown in their sorrows. Yep. What's a pub?
What?
Is that a type of lake? I don't want anyone to drown. My chest and shoulders shuddered from a half-hiccup sob and a laugh. Oh, those two. I sat up and wiped my eyes.
Thanks.
I'm fine. It'll take a while to recover, that's all.
Annoying.
As long as you can take me to the next altar, I'm good. I scowled and shot up, staring him in the eye. I wanted to become a knight so I can help you better.
I don't care.
I still have no idea what those are, and I don't care. Don't care? You've already delayed us enough with your fiasco, and you're the one who kept telling us not to wander off. Hey, rocks for brains, this precious little girl's dreams just sort of shattered into a million pieces here. Excuse me if I don't feel like, guiding you to the next altar right now.
Annoying.
This is pathetic. I bet I could find someone else someone else better who would be, more willing to... Quiet, both of you! There was a ferocious snarl at the end of Amari's outburst, and we immediately stopped arguing. I blinked blankly, then sat back down on the bench, surprised that Amari could use such an expression, such ear if he desired. The flare vanished and soon was his usual calm self, but with a considerate yet stern edge to his voice. This obviously isn't getting us anywhere. Auralee, I know this meant a lot to you, but we also can't forget the original reason for being here. Kerr, ease off. Let's not fight, especially when we'll be working together to get your form back. He softened and leaned in so he was eye level with me. Auralee, you can still help, knight or not. It's only a title, right? You've already done so much for us. You're like a knight already. For some reason, that caused me to smile, and I chuckled lightly at his attempt to cheer me up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can still help. I stood up. You can be cool sometimes, Amari, and mature. He pouted and folded his arms. And he didn't fold his arms. I'm pretty sure I'm the oldest one here. Kerr and I exchanged surprised glances, since I had definitely pegged Amari as the baby of the group. Do we both feel like we can talk in an amicable manner again? I nodded. After a moment's hesitation, Kerr shrugged, but didn't fight back.
Oh no.
Oh, I forgot the letter, although I don't see the point in going back for it now. Maybe I should have listened to the alternatives. It wasn't like I was getting completely rejected. It's my fault for relying too much on my mom's name anyway. At that moment, someone ran up to us, clutching the letter. He carried an air of formality, and I instantly recognized his uniform rank as captain of the guard. I gasped, but quickly regained my composure. Excuse me, but is this your letter? Yes, how did you know? When I asked the receptionist about this, she said the young lady took it rather hard and she didn't get accepted. Although I could not see Amari and Kerr's reaction, I had a feeling they promptly agreed with that remark. Did he witness the bench scene from earlier? Being reminded of my rejection was enough to get me on the verge of tears again, but I nodded and tried to regain some dignity.
Sorry about that.
Yes, I'm sorry for not knowing about the new regulations, and he shook his head. I was never a stickler for the changes. I find them too limiting. Why, back in my day, he trailed off and coughed. However, I can't just knight anyone. If you possess the same skill and potential as a student of the Oliver Knight Academy, I could possibly make an exception here. I felt my heart stop as I tried to prevent a squeal of excitement. However, even if you're Lady Bayard's daughter, I'm not going easy on you. You will still need to take a test, and I'm pressed for time. Would you prefer a test of sword skills or a written Sword! He glanced at me in bafflement, but smiled. Just like your mother. I worked under her for years. If she knew about the new guidelines, she'd probably be livid. He gestured to the headquarters. Then if you're ready. I glanced back at Amari and Kerr, resisting the urge to jump. I'll be back soon. Please wait here. Right. Well, that was Sir Serpendir's event. I'm glad things worked out in the end. Are you kidding? Everyone entering and exiting the building saw her embarrassing display. I'm not surprised someone decided to see why there was a girl dissolving into the bench from all of her tears. One-track mind, that girl. Same as you? I hope she comes back soon, though. She did promise to take me to that glittering shop. Oh, that glittering shop. What's a cavity, anyway?
Look,
By the way, Amari...
Oh.
Amari? That's what I said.
Of course.
Ah, you're right.
thanks.
About earlier. You fought rather competently. That surprised me. Never thought my spells would come in handy that way. I'm glad it worked out.
I have a question.
Why did you and Auralee burst out laughing anyway? I admit it was a rather interesting scare tactic, but I didn't think that was its intention. It was nothing. I'm curious. Nothing important. Hey, you two. Did it work out? I mustered a small smile and rubbed the back of my head. Yeah, maybe not as I'd like, but not all was lost. Basically, he was impressed, but he can't give me the rank without more proof. I'll be helping out at the Argent Valerie Guild as a knight in training. I can do quests and little tasks, but I can't be included in any major orders. They said to compare it to the final year at their academy. I didn't exactly get that comment, as I had never been enrolled before, but I guess that meant I could consider myself close to graduating. Explaining the situation solidified some of my confidence.
They did it!
I even got a little badge. Achievement. Amari clapped while Kerr smiled very briefly. So, can we go to the next altar? Yes, Kerr. However, it's getting late, so things will have to be postponed. But I still intend to keep my promise. I'll take you to the altar first thing in the morning, and then I'll show you the marketplace. I'm happy with that arrangement. That works. Oh, and I even got my own lodging, like a real knight. But I can't let unauthorized people in with me. I could find an inn for you both, and... An inn? Where you can sleep indoors, for a price. Ah, we'd pay then. No, we'll be fine outside, Kerr. I'd rather sleep outside anyways.
Right.
Right, it's autumn now, but it's still pretty warm. However, please tell me when it's starting to get too cold to remain outside at night. I can arrange an inn. Not sure where you'll go currently. The gardens seem nice, so you could easily get some sleep there. Just don't get into trouble when I'm not around. Like Mother, our cultures may be different, but we do have common sense. His glaze briefly flickered to Kerr as if second guessing himself. I'll be watching over him anyway. What's that supposed to mean? I went to the lodge with the others and pointed to the second floor where I'd be staying. It was essentially like an inn. Female knights temporarily staying at Oliver live here. While they remain here, they can do various tasks around the city for money or little rewards. Think of it as training for all the virtues a knight should represent, so they'll be honorable and righteous both on the battlefield and while protecting citizens. And of course, you'll help me. You two will be able to learn everything about Heavenkind without getting too boring. If it didn't become a knight in training, we'd probably just wander aimlessly hoping for something to do, and I don't think Kerr's master would accept that as a meaningful experience.
Of course.
Makes sense. Is this title really that important? Yes. Kerr opened his mouth to interject, but seemed to have thought better about it. Instead, he rubbed his temples and exhaled loudly. Try to include something more battle-oriented. I don't know if fighting other heavenkind would count as an ideal experience. I'll see what I can do. For now, let's get to that altar tomorrow and see that marketplace as well. I'm exhausted. So much happened today.
Of course.
Of course. I'll see you in the morning.
Thanks.
Thanks. Don't oversleep, Kerr. I won't. At least I won't be poked with a stick. As Amari headed for the garden, Kerr took a step, then paused before glancing back.
Look,
Is this one of your reluctantly admitting something confessions again?
shut up!
It's not. Fine, it is. It's okay, Kerr. It shows I'm understanding you better. Is it about the fight? Yes, I might have acted harshly with you when you were obviously feeling down. It's okay. I guess my reaction was a little immature. I'm surprised you didn't leave me there. Believe me, the thought crossed my mind, but Amari wouldn't have approved.
Sorry about that.
Well, I'm sorry for snapping at you. We do seem to rile each other up. I'll try to be a better friend to you. Friend?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've already been through so much together, I consider both you and Amari friends. My words seemed to have startled him. He awkwardly mumbled a goodbye and departed. Guess that notion never occurred to him. Well, Auralee, you're a knight in training now. Time to start acting like one. Jumping up, I entered the lodge, eager for the next day and the adventures it would bring.